questions. Who's in charge here?
Depends on the day. What time of the day as well. Yeah, so she may think she wears the pants, but I hold the belt.
He thinks he wears them. What?
I guess we have to go back to what life was like before KYLO. I guess I would describe myself as a T-Rex, wanting my way, or it's my way, really no option. And I would try to manipulate the situation so that we achieve my outcome. So my communication style was very aggressive, very controlling. And so when we had started the KYLO course, I was made aware of that. And I just had to go on this journey of going from becoming an aggressive, and at times I'd be a passive aggressive communicator, to being more assertive, actually sharing my heart in terms of what I hope for.
I think so I read KYLO first. I found the book a few years before we did it as a life group, and we ran it in our life group. And so when it came to communication, I had to move from being a passive communicator to being assertive. So with the T-Rex and me being the passive person in the relationship, that was quite a challenge at times. And I think it says in the book that sometimes you'll get you'll get a bit of kickback, like when you start putting in boundaries or you start becoming assertive. Sometimes that person, if they aren't aware of what's going on, or they haven't learnt to keep their love on yet, you might get a bit of a reaction. So I remember sitting at this table one night, and I can't remember what the issue was, but we for whatever it was, we were discussing something, and the conversation became really disrespectful. So he became really aggressive, and he was really disrespectful, and I knew that it was my chance to show how I could communicate assertively. And I said to him, I don't like that this conversation has just become disrespectful. When you're ready to be respectful, we can carry on with this conversation. And he was not happy, and so I got up and I went to my room and I was like, just let me know when you're ready, and then we can carry on. And yeah, so that was big for me, and within our marriage was just learning to be assertive and keeping my love on, and it's and something like what we do with the kids is not letting them push that red button on our chest. So they're doing something, but it comes back to that, what you're going through doesn't have to affect me, it doesn't have to create a reaction in me. So when I'm saying to him, I'm happy to have this conversation when you're ready to be respectful, I'm not yelling at him and saying that, I can say it like this. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to match his aggression.
Yeah, I guess for me, that's what I brought into the relationship. And growing up, the only way you were heard was if you raised your voice, or the conversations you would try and get, you would try and control others in some ways, a subconscious way. It's because that's how my parents operated, and so I naturally inherited those communication tools. And so I thought, well, that's the way you do it, and so I'll bring that into our relationship. And so I guess that's why I was very aggressive, like a T-Rex in our earlier years of communication. And I guess there are still moments when I have to fight that off, my natural default is that, and so I'm still learning the skills and around how to be more assertive. And I think part of the process is understanding that it's not just what I say, it's how I say it. That can be a challenge at times. So yeah, it's a journey. We're still learning this, and we're on our way to becoming better communicators.
Yeah, I think I statements are definitely something that's helped us, and keeping in mind that it's not about you, you love the other person. So when they're communicating something to you, it's not about it's not about you becoming defensive and going there attacking me, and that's where the I statements work quite well. And I think in the book it talks about how you still have to construct those quite well, because sometimes people can use an I statement, but it's still like just saying you're a jerk. Like, I feel angry because you're a jerk to me. That's not helpful. But yeah, it's definitely helpful. And we do, everyone slips back into it. It's easy where you have to constantly make a choice to communicate how you feel, and then also hear what the other person is saying and go, okay, I'm going to set aside my feelings right now because they're telling me something that's important to them.
I think I'm learning how to listen with my heart and not with my head, and actually try and, in terms of communication, it's not just speaking, it's also listening, but hearing with my heart in terms of what is she actually communicating to me. And that can be a challenge at times, especially if you've got a whole lot of things happening in your world. But yeah, it's something I'm developing and growing in, is to listen with my heart.
And on my side, I guess for me, it's learning or making sure that I'm being really specific in what I'm saying, and being really clear, like this is what I want, or this is what I need, or this is what I'm not happy about. And it's just, for me, like lowering my expectations that he's not a girl, so I'm not going to sit and have hour-long conversations with him. He needs bullet points, he needs it to be clear, he needs it to be specific. And so I need to put a lot of thought into what I'm going to say before I say it, or else I've lost him if I'm blunt, which I tend to do.
What's been happening that's been funny? Anything funny?
I know. Funny. I'm being Daniel Tiger. Chicken box. We did lots of time. And laughed. Like lazy chicken box. Chicken box. Chicken box.
What's the chicken box?
A chicken box. Chicken box. So like when he puts on the ground, pops out a person. And he like a person that doesn't have a springy person. Yeah, and like this chicken box.
That's your Jack in the Box.
Yes. Yeah.